The following is a fatal four-way Extreme Rules match. Making his way to the ring from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryans!
Welcome everyone, you are joining us here at the first ever Battle of the Bryans, an event to determine which Bryan will be left standing. At first, we have our Fatal 4-Way match, an Extreme Rules match of some of our most well-known and established Bryans. All four of the competitors in this match have showcased themselves in the previous Rumble matches of the years. As you know, the winner of this match will go on to a 6-person ladder match. The winner of that match will go on to a final 6-person ladder match for a contract that stays execution for a year. All the other competitors will be killed. That is correct.
Yes, it is.
There will only be one Bryan left standing after
And his
tonight.
opponents, first from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds,
Seeing some of our favorite and familiar faces. As I said before, all 4 members of this match are beloved members of the CCOC universe, beloved Bryans. Whoever wins this will compete against 5 new Bryans, all in our developmental center. All those Bryans are hoping to win, go on that final match with more developmental Bryans to win that contract that not only will get them to the main roster, it will stop them from being executed after the end of tonight. Again, I will repeat, only one Bryan will be left alive. All other Bryans will be killed. Management decided there was just far too many Bryans in our roster and we had to trim down. And we do not believe in layoffs or firing, so we thought this was a more humane way.
from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryans!
As this is an Extreme Rules Fatal 4-Way, Brian Butcher might have an advantage here, already coming out with that shillelagh, which, once again, as stated before, Brian Butcher is not Australian. However, Brian Butcher is also not Irish. We don't know how he got that shillelagh. We don't know why he has a shillelagh. We're not quite sure what Brian Butcher is. Now, however, drop the shillelagh right away. Might not even use it as a weapon, which would be a detriment, because again, this is an Extreme Rules match. Oh, got the jacket off. He looks ready. And our final entrant, the longest running Bryan in the CCOC roster. Some might be a little apprehensive that he has been thrown into this match, afraid of what would happen if we lost Pocket Bryans. But Pocket Bryans actually was not entered in this match. He busted right on in. Came in saying, "I want to nibble them fingers." And we did not say no. We were honestly horrified. So we said, sure. If there's a chance of you dying, why the hell not? And again, with a Extreme Rules match, even though it's a Fatal 4-Way, that means all weapons are allowed. There is no count-out, there is no disqualifications. However, you do have to still pin or submit your opponent in the ring. How is this different than any other Fatal 4-Way match? We just place more weapons under the ring. That's about it. There's very little difference. But here we go. Getting ready to start off. Every Bryan in a corner. All prepared, all staring each other down. And there's the bell. But a slow start for all Bryans, almost confused when the bell rang. But already starting out, Brian Butcher going right after Weed Ape Brian, who is a new favorite, just moved up from developmental. It would be a shame if they died right away. And Brian Butcher already switched and already got turned around by Pocket Brian. And Weed Ape Brian setting up for, the dime bag. Just hit Pandemic Brian with the dime bag and taking over right away. That's what we love to see from this great prospect, this fantastic Brian, against Pandemic Brian, who, while a new member to our roster and fairly beloved, is kind of just a guy. Weed Ape Brian he's a Weed Ape. Pocket Brian is some sort of goblin creature that lives in pockets, and Brian Butcher is, well, I guess he is also just a guy, but at least he's a guy who's pretending to be, I don't know, British, Australian. No one's quite sure where Butcher is from. Especially not Brian Butcher. He absolutely has no idea where Butcher is from. It's not just me being confused because I have not watched... Wow, I'm blanking on the show. I have not watched the TV show it was from. The Boys. I remembered. It's The Boys. Thank you, production. They had to slide me a note that said, it's The Boys. Obviously, it's The Boys. Anyway, back to the action. A sledgehammer is brought out, and Brian Butcher bringing out trash can and failing. Well, Pandemic Brian unloads a series of strikes through the trash can and Brian Butcher, while it seems Pocket Brian just laid out Weed Ape Brian with a 6 suplex. Pandemic Brian trying to go for a kendo stick. Brian Butcher not allowing it. Getting up. Lining up for some high-flying maneuver. And just some kind of looked like he tripped off the pillar into Pandemic Brian. Again, neither of them are athletes, they're just guys. He should not only should you not try this at home, dear viewers, they should not be trying this at home, or here. And there's Pocket Brian with a front-facing suplex on Brian Butcher. Pandemic Brian, being the only Brian standing currently, slingshots Pocket Brian onto the apron, which is, as you know, the hardest part of the ring. Trying to use the trash can. It was turn around to a beautiful power scoop slam by Pocket Brian. Again, he's the most powerful Brian, just from sense of we're terrified of Pocket Brian. Especially this one, which has, as you've seen, has been kind of magnified, turned giant. Pocket Brian was supposed to fit in your pocket, but in order to make the fight fair, we had to turn them bigger, set the settings to 1 row, as they say in the scientific community. Now it seems multiple Bryans trying to set up for their finishers at the same time. Kind of just led to everyone posing next to each other when Brian Butcher was on the ground. But Weed Ape Brian, going for another slingshot onto the apron, this time for Brian Butcher. And also said, just dragging him leg first into the side of the ring, just throwing a trash can on him. I know there's also action in the ring, but this doesn't even look like wrestling on the outside. Weed Ape Brian's just beating the shit out of Brian Butcher. Well, surprisingly, Pandemic Brian is also just destroying Pocket Brian, signaling for a tag? But, as confusing as that was, wow! Pandemic Brian just turned around a beautiful drop kick to Pocket Brian, turns then into a step. They're going for a pin. It took, just one. The ref took a long time going to the side there. Not quite sure why. And then we're having, Brian Butcher. He's just a guy. How is he strong enough to pick up the steps, which, as we all know, is the heaviest part of the ring? Or, yes, the heaviest part of the ring. And the table almost being set up, but Brian Butcher said no, and just threw Weed Ape Brian into that collection of steel there. And throwing a steel chair on him as well. It's looking like a whole junkyard around Weed Ape Brian, and Pocket Brian An incredible stunner. But again, the pin broken up. This fight is going to be a tough one for anyone to get purchase in. As long as someone is still standing, they're not going to be able to do a clean pin. Now, oh, Brian Butcher. What's he going for here? He's stepping up for... Oh, on the middle rope. An old Butcher Bomb, as he would try to say. Again, we're not sure what accent that was. Oh, that was close to. A little worried as Pandemic Brian, excuse me. A lot of Bryans here. Oh. And that's it! The winner of this match is Brian Butcher. All other members of this match will be killed, and Brian Butcher is now heading towards our first 6-person ladder match. Again, Brian Butcher has to make it through 2 more matches if he wants to survive the Brian pull-in. And sadly, all the rest of the Bryans in this match will be executed.
Universal Century 0079. Mankind lives among the heavens in colonies called sides. But Side 3 has a dark secret.
Take your sorrow and turn it into anger.
The Principality of Zeon has declared war on the Earth Federation.
Zeon thirsts for the strength of its people.
Mankind will be caught in a conflict that ranges from the Earth to the stars. Now say goodbye. The future depends on a ship called White Base and its secret weapon. A homeless boy with powers beyond comprehension.
Those lightning reflexes, it's like he sees the future.
His name, Amaru Ray. His weapon, Gundam.
Your dirty tricks are no match against Gundam's immense power.
Let's retreat!
Now a crew of orphans and rejects will change the face of history or die trying.
You're mine.
Tsunami is proud to present the most groundbreaking anime saga of all time. Fully restored, Mobile Suit Gundam. Premieres Monday, July 23rd at 5. Suit up for the first time.
The Federation has dispatched its entire mobile suit force.
Only Tsunami.
Stand up for the future.
The following is a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Making his way to the ring from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryans!
Welcome back, ladies and fiends. We are here with the second match for the Battle of the Bryans. As you just witnessed, this Bryan, has survived 3 other Bryans to make it into this TLC match. But if he wants to go on and stay as a member of the CCOC roster and not be shot in the back, he has to survive 5 other contenders who are hungry. They're new. They want to be the only Bryan left standing.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryans!
Speaking of those hungry new Bryans crawling out from the dank sewer that he exists in, it's Sewage Pipe Bryan, one of the new Bryans in our Performance Center who have this opportunity to move up to the main roster and an opportunity to stay alive once again. Only one Bryan survived. Every other Bryan is taken out back and got 2 shots put in the back of their head by the Glock. That's right. We have Arn Anderson in the back with us. His Glock ready to blow each of Bryan's brains out onto the concrete. One Bryan, however, will stay alive. Will it be this new, fresh, stinky as hell competitor, Sewage Pipe Bryan? My money is not on this one. I also hope that the ref makes sure that the life ring, or the floaty, whatever you call it, which already seems to be deflated, gets removed before any wrestling occurs. To see our next competitor.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryans!
Now I know we're only halfway through the competitors in this match, but my money is already on this man, this sage, you might say, of enlightened Bryan. He's spent so much time atop the pinnacle that he's come back greater than you, better. He's wise, not misogynistic. He is enlightened Bryan. When he tells you something, he's not mansplaining. He's just simply giving wisdom. Now, will that training on top, that meditation, help him in this match? Some would say so, if he's enlightened enough to get through. But some might even say he's so enlightened that he knows he's already experienced all of life, so it doesn't matter if he gets his brains blown out. Now, I still wish for him to win, but my hopes aren't too high, especially once seeing the next 3 competitors in this match.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryans!
Just saying that, my hope might already be dashed, because this is Warlord Bryan the First. You see he's ready for battle. Enlightened Bryan might have the wisdom of sages, but Warlord Bryan has killed thousands. Possibly. We're not actually sure what he's Warlord of, but he is a Warlord. He's so far the fiercest Bryan to be in this match. Possibly the fiercest Bryan we have seen tonight. As 3 of the 4 we saw earlier are now dead. We are shipping off their carcasses. We use every part of the Bryan. We are sustainable here at CCOC.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryans!
Now, after seeing the terror of Warlord Bryan, I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't Sick Slut Bryan, who, honestly, I'm not sure should be in this match. Not only do they look quite sickly, I'm really not sure why they're a wrestler. Based on all the things I know about them, which is that they are sick and a slut, I'm not sure the world of battle is right for them. Especially following Warlord Bryan. Honestly, it's possible Sick Slut Bryan wants death. That they're in this match to finally get the sweet release of the Grim Reaper's kiss and just be sent away on the river Styx. It's been a tough life for Sick Slut Bryan. Yes, fan behind them, that is Bryan. Good job. I'm glad our fans brought the best and the most creative signs for this special Bryan-centered rumble. Or PPLE. Not really a rumble. We only do 1 rumble a year. We can't afford to borrow the rights to the word rumble for any other matches this year, or any other show. Alright, Sick Slut Bryan not even looking like they know they're in a wrestling ring. Very slow, lethargic. They are quite sick. Oh, now they're doing fist. Okay, time to see the last competitor.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds,
And you hate to see them, folks. You thought we would be free of any Zoomers in this match, but it is Gen Z Bryan. All here with the Riz, no cap, to throw some haymakers at all of his opponents. We asked Gen Z Bryan what any of those words mean, and we're not sure even he knows. We're not convinced Gen Z Bryan is actually a Gen Zer, a Zoomer, perhaps a Zillennial, at most. But we have not been able to get his driver's license. He keeps claiming he doesn't have a driver's license, but we're pretty sure that's too young to be Gen Z. Anyway, now we have our competitors. One of these 6 men will go on to the next ladder match, and the other 5 will get their heads shot clean through in the back, maybe even decapitated. We're not quite sure. We don't like to watch. We're starting off strong. All the Bryans have already paired off. It's a good thing there's 6 of them. It allows for these neat, clean little pairs. And Gen Z Bryan with a swanton that looked more like a trip on the top rope. Again, got that Zoomer energy, but none of that Zoomer experience. Which is to say, none. And a missed frog splash from Sewage Pipe Bryan, who's going right after. Sewage Pipe Bryan has some skill with disease, so going straight after 6 Foot Bryan, probably immune from all that sewage diving. And then Leighton Bryan going straight for the Warlord. Oh wait, no, that's Butcher. Warlord's on the ground. Apologies. There's a lot of bald men in this ring. Well, except, honestly, the 2 in the ring. One with a hat and one has hair. So that's my mistake. And, oh, so far, Sewage Pipe Bryan actually going to town, but it also seems like all the Bryans are teaming up on 6 Slut Bryan, who, like I said, I think just wishes for death. I haven't seen them fight back. I think they just want to die. And we already have ladders getting set up, but not for climbing, only seems to be set up for brutality, as Gen Z Bryan kind of has control of the ring. They are possibly the youngest opponent out there, the youngest competitor. So, oh, and Leighton Bryan has Sewage Pipe Bryan going up. Oh, going for a bewildering Bryan Buster. Sewage Pipe Bryan doesn't know where they are, and 6 Slut Bryan with some beautiful offense with a Bryan B job, they call it. Not my favorite named attack, but again, I'm not even sure if 6 Slut Bryan is a wrestler. But now we have Leighton Bryan taking control of the ring, taking out Butcher Bryan, who, remember, has already been in a match tonight, so they have to be tired. And Sewage Pipe Bryan, who's exhausted already from taking that bewildering Bryan Buster, and another one delivered to Butcher Bryan, who's then left by themselves in the ring. I question this strategy from Enlightened Bryan, as Butcher is now in the ring with the ladders and could choose to go for the contract, which again gets them into the next match. Does not get them to survive the ordeal that the rest of the Bryans will go through unless they can survive it. Butcher Bryan with going for the briefcase, and finally Leighton Bryan closing it on them. I've never actually seen that move though. That is very smart, and of course from the sage leader of Bryans, at least they like to say, again, the Bryans have no hierarchy and are not unionized. If they were unionized, then they wouldn't be summarily executed after these matches. They would definitely stop us from doing that. And again, no one's stopping Leighton Bryan, they're all stopping each other. Do they not realize that if Bryan gets that contract, the rest of them die? They should be teaming up. But finally, Warlord Bryan, the one most accustomed to these bloody, brutal battles, knew to stop Leighton Bryan. Truly the 2 smartest tacticians in the ring currently. While the others are fighting outside the ring, wearing each other down, but not getting what needs to be got. As Warlord Bryan weakens Leighton Bryan, and also possibly does a glancing throw on 6 Slut Bryan, who I think got into the ring just to escape, but is not in a safe place, as Enlightened Brian is doing 6 things to 6-slut Brian. I don't even know what that was supposed to be. Enlightened Brian, you're supposed to be wise. You can't just do that to somebody. Right, Enlightened Brian, once again, no stop, and oh, a great dodge from 6-slut Brian, who I thought was just accepting death there and going, oh, that 6-slut went straight for a low blow on Enlightened Brian, but then left the ring, allowing Zoomer Brian to on a good thing Enlightened Brian jumped back up. Again, these Bryans are not treating the ladders with the respect they should, and are just ignoring whoever's up top. With Gen Z Bryans going for the briefcase, no one is trying to stop him. There's 2 in the ring, and they're completely ignored. They're focused on each other. And he's unhooking him. It's getting close when Enlightened Brian is not wise enough to stop him, and there we have it. Gen Z Brian is your winner, with 2 Bryans in the ring, completely ignoring, forgetting that this means death.
Here is your winner.
Now Gen Z Brian will move on to the next match, and all these other Bryans are dead.
Mon nom, c'est Jean-Claude Van Damme, et je suis un mage. Le corps à corps pour moi maintenant, it's over. Maintenant, je lance des sorts. Paf! Si tu me cherches trop, je te transforme en sheep. Un mouton. Parce qu'on est tous un peu moutons, tu sais. Je suis Jean-Claude Van Damme, je suis un mage. Et toi, à quoi tu joues?
World of Warcraft. Essayez-le gratuitement sur warcraft.fr.
The following contest is a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Making his way to the ring from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryan!
We're back with the final match of the night. The final 6-person, or shall I say 6-Bryan ladder match. All for the coveted prize of not being murdered and not getting murdered for a whole calendar year, while also being on the main roster of CCOC. Introducing first, of course, the winner of the previous match, Gen Z Brian, who unexpectedly won when the other competitors forgot what the match was being fought for. Kind of 2 of the most experienced warriors in the ring just sitting there while Gen Z Brian got the contract and they got turned into pig food. That's what I was told happened to them. I, once again, did not want to see it. It is horrifying.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryan!
Speaking of turning other Bryans into pig food, we have a horrifying man here, the scariest Bryan I have ever seen. Even scarier with the mask off, it is Serial Killer Bryan. We thought we might have enough serial killers already in CCOC. Well, if this Bryan gets his way, another will be added to the bunch. So I can safely say I hope this man gets shot in the head tonight. I hope he gets shot in the head several times. But he also seems to be the one with the killer instinct. Truly know the fight for him. Imagine him winning that briefcase means 5 other Bryans are killed tonight. Those bodies will be added to his list. That will instantly turn him into, I don't know, a super serial killer. Honestly, whichever Bryan wins tonight, I guess, is the new serial killer Bryan, because they would have caused 5 other Bryans to die. And if Jigsaw's rules follow that he doesn't kill people, the people in traps kill people, then it works for the Bryans.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryan!
but he might be a serial killer. But check the calendars. It's not the year of serial killers, it's the year of the rat. And only one Bryan can channel that power, Rat Bryan. Here to show everyone that he's the biggest, the baddest, the raddest. That he'll make every year the year of the rat. This is the Bryan I want to win. I think everyone can get behind. And that we don't want just a year of the rat. We want a century of the rat. We want a millennia of the rat. Now, everyone in the audience, all you rat heads, put your energy together, because if he doesn't win, there will be no more year of the rat. There won't even be a rat day. Well, maybe a rat funeral, but that's it. Already 2 heavy hitters in this contest against Jin Z Bryan, but Jin Z Bryan has the advantage, and he's won one of these matches before. And he has figured out all you need to do is climb the ladder, because apparently no one else figured that out. Seriously, I'm kind of now glad those other Bryans are dead if they're not smart enough to know that you have to stop someone else from winning the match to win the match. Let's just hope the other 3 Bryans in this match as well aren't as stupid as that, and that this is a lot more competitive, because again, they will be murdered.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryan!
If any Bryan knows how to climb ladders and get on top, it is Gay Goth Goblin Bryan. One of the most powerful Bryans we've ever seen, making a splash in our developmental. No other Bryan has so many other attributes. Most Bryans are just one word, maybe 2. This Bryan, 3 whole words. Now, can Gay Goth Goblin Bryan take that and channel that power? Probably not. Statistically, it's 1 in 6, folks. Not great. Oh, God.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryan!
I'm sorry, folks. After we just introduced 2 of the best Bryans, here's the worst Bryan. It's even more the worst that, unfortunately, this commentator has never seen Longlegs, so really won't have that many references to pull on when talking about this Bryan. Kind of a detriment here, but also, to be fair to this announcer, Bryan just says things. So, this Bryan, I mean, has things in common, I guess, with Serial Killer Bryan. They're both weird and creepy. Again, I have not seen Longlegs. I assume Longlegs is some sort of murderer. Nicolas Cage is in it. That's all I got.
You don't want none.
And from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing in at 230 pounds, Bryan!
Once again, I have spoken too soon. This is the worst Bryan. If I was clearly rooting for Rat Bryan, I'm also extremely clearly rooting against Reaganite Bryan. The only person who would be excited for them to reach the main roster is probably Margaret Thatcher. She needs a new teammate to take on the Tornado, and honestly, everyone else hates her fucking guts. Just as much as I believe every other Bryan hates this piece of shit, and I'm hoping right off the bat they get thrown through a table. But still, Reaganite Bryan is a force to be contended with, I guess. Honestly, we're not even sure this Bryan knows anything about Reaganomics or Reagan, just kind of wanted to be a douche. Alright, here we go, folks. Right off the bat into these delicious pairs, and it's both Serial Killer Bryan and Longleg Bryan fighting right off the bat, trying to see who's the spookiest and scariest of the Bryans, and Reaganite Bryan going right towards a fan favorite, right towards gay goth goblin Bryan. How dare this disgusting piece of crap, and hitting gay goth goblin Bryan with the trickle down DDT, while Serial Killer Bryan getting the first ladder in the ring. Hopefully Gen Z Bryan remembers what happened in his match and stops people from climbing it. Instead he's going for a kendo stick to go after. Not sure who he's going after. In fact, he just said fuck the kendo stick. He's got the zoomer zoomies and is kind of just running around doing nothing. But gay goth goblin Bryan going right for Rat Bryan, but Longleg's not allowing it. Well, Reaganite Bryan taking Serial Killer. Well, Gen Z Bryan continues to do nothing, which is probably good. They're probably gassed from the last match. And going right for the Reaganite as a good zoomer would. As Longlegs Bryan, who is somehow turning more and more purple, is beating the crap out of Rat Bryan. While Gen Z Bryan gets out of the ring, takes another breather, continues not to do much, finds another weapon. Hopefully this kendo stick doesn't keep being used. Nope, not at all. As Reaganite Bryan does an incredible moonsault into a death drop. I didn't know he could move like that. But gay goth goblin Bryan, I apologize, with some retaliation on Reaganite Bryan, throwing him out. This ring is getting filled up, and nope, commentators curse. Oh, yup, they're back in. I don't think these Bryans know what they're supposed to do in this match. They kind of just see toys, and they're getting excited, like a Bryan on Christmas. Serial Killer Bryan, with a deadly DDT on Gen Z Bryan. Gen Z Bryan, perfect victim in a horror movie. Serial Killer Bryan going right for them, but Longlegs Bryan, also in that ring, turning and wants either vengeance on Serial Killer Bryan or also wants a turn at the Young Life Boy. As they both double team Gen Z Bryan, like I said, perfect victim in a horror movie. As gay goth Bryan is still going at it with Rat Bryan, just over and over, choking the life out of them. Again, gay goth goblin Bryan, it's no longer Pride Month, but we support you and we're okay with seeing pink at Pride and in this match. So choke away. Oh, and Longlegs Bryan with a devastating punch. I don't have a clever name for it. I haven't seen Longlegs. And Longlegs Bryan teleporting just like the characters in Longlegs? Maybe? Right out of the ring, but back into just normal offense as Gen Z Bryan continues being unsure what to do. Like a typical zoomer, everything's a mess. The market's been ruined by Reaganites, and they're just doing their best. And getting a chair, so far, no one really setting up a ladder. Focus more on carnage in this match, which is a lot better than last match. And oh, Rat Bryan with a poison Rana right onto the, was that a Steiner driver? Either way, right onto the ladder. Reaganite Bryan shuts down anyone's momentum. Anytime someone gets close to reaching the top, Reaganite Bryan just stops their momentum like a freaking Reaganite. Nothing clever there, that's just what those pieces of shit do. But luckily, K-Goth Goblin Bryan hammering on that Reaganite, giving up on the kendo stick and deciding, no, I want to feel your limbs break. But unfortunately gave an advantage, and now both horrible 80s movie monsters are taking turns on gay goth Goblin Bryan. As a think Serial Killer Brian is busted open. Reaganite Brian going for it. He's going for it. A devastating flailing from the top 1%. And then, oh no. With himself just in the ring, Serial Killer Brian's down. Reaganite Brian going for the briefcase. But luckily, Gen Z Brian knows that if you climb that ladder, you'll win the match. They're the only Brian to know this. And luckily stopped Reaganite Brian, but for that work, he's getting tortured by Serial Killer Brian. As Rat Brian also comes back and shows some more disrespect. Again, not one single Brian is taking the lead on this. It's a whirlwind of boys as they just go in and out, performing devastating maneuvers on one another. It's hard to tell who's got the upper hand in this match. But Rat Brian, alone in the ring, just took out Long Legs Brian. Setting up for a dive, could have gone for, and attempted, but Reaganite Brian once again stalling someone's upward momentum. Getting and setting up to get them out of the ring. Trying to breaking the arm of Rat Brian. Who, once again, we want to survive. We want the year of the rat. And I'm sorry, folks. Serial Killer Brian, Dagoff Goblin Brian kind of had a mirror move there. And stopped to respect each other before Dagoff Goblin Brian gave a good, I think that's a flat pancake to Serial Killer Brian. As Long Legs going for the long leg drop and missed. Once again, the ring is filling up. A lot of Bryans, a lot of carnage, and Gen Z Brian going for the ladder. We saw him use this strategy the previous match of just climbing the ladder and hoping no one would notice. It did not pay off this time, but Rat Brian getting in the way of Reaganite Brian attacking Gen Z Brian, but somehow it didn't work for Gen Z Brian going for that springboard elbow. And once again, Gen Z Brian, minimal fight, sneaking up the ladder, hoping no one will notice him. Serial Killer Brian's got his eyes and a leaping punch to take him down as Rat Brian going to the other side. Gen Z Brian picked off Serial Killer Brian. Now we have two on the ladder. Rat Brian going for a dangerous maneuver. Oh! A Rat Breaker! A Rat Breaker on Gen Z Brian from the top of the ladder. There's no way he's coming back from that, but that took a lot out of Rat Brian too, and Dagoff Goblin Brian taking that momentum, going up. Only Reaganite Brian's in the ring, and Long Legs Brian getting in the way of it. Will that have cost? And luckily enough, Reaganite Brian was able to stop Dagoff Goblin Brian, who was very close. Long Legs Brian almost throwing that, wishing for death, similar to his character in Long Legs, right? We've all seen it. And right now, Serial Killer Brian is the only one standing. Long Legs Brian basically propped up in the corner, but after getting some gas back, these two killers face each other again. Long Legs Brian thinking about it, but instead just going for Rat Brian. Serial Killer Brian seeming to want in, but there we go. Trying to take everyone down. Going once again for... I'm sorry, Dagoff Goblin Brian, what was... Oh, I guess it was a taunt. Threw it back, then threw himself back. I can respect that. Dagoff Goblin Brian setting up the ladders in the corners. Trying to go, probably do some sort of Irish whip into the corner, but Serial Killer Brian, honestly, again, showing to be one of the sturdiest of competitors in this ring. Most people have not gotten a lot of momentum on them, but spoke too soon. Reaganite Brian with a flurry of moves, including a springboard moonsault. Again, I did not know you could move in a suit like that. I also didn't know you could move with Reagan's hand so far up your ass. But that hasn't stopped Serial Killer. And Gen Z Brian with the Rizzler right on Long Legs. And Gate Off Goblin Brian with the Pride Bomb on Reaganite Brian, trying to make him pay for all the poor Bryans who died to the AIDS pandemic. Reaganite Brian gets the win. And Longlegs Brian going up. Serial Killer Brian noticed, but being taken out by Dagoth Goblin Brian. No one else is really paying attention as they're working to unhook it. Does Longlegs Brian... And Longlegs Brian has this! Unbelievable! The one competitor we didn't expect because we didn't know anything about them. All the other Bryans will be summarily executed. And Longlegs Brian is going to the top.